Yo. Let's do it. Let's do it. Ty Butler. We are here, baby. Ty Butler Show. Hit us up. We're streaming live on YouTube. We are on Twitter at Ty D Butler. On this Friday, it's brick here in New York City. Brick. I saw 13 degrees when I was in the gym this morning. I'm like, damn, we here already. December 5th, getting closer and closer to Christmas, which means we are getting closer and closer to the NFL playoffs. And with that, my man, 100 grand, Dexter Henry, New York Post Sports in the building,
What's good, man?
in
It's
the
brick. It's brick
flesh.
out. It's brick out there. It's no joke.
Yo, dog. I took my kids to school this morning,
Yeah, me too.
and we actually got there early, a couple of minutes early, which is something we're not used to. But we got there like 5 minutes early, and I just double parked, and we sitting in the car. My son Noah looks at me and he's like, "Dad, like, why aren't we going inside here?" I was like, "My man, the doors are closed. We are not standing outside in 13-degree weather like that. That's not happening."
Nah, it's crazy because I dropped my daughter off to school today, and there's an assistant principal that usually stands by the gate, and every time I see him when I come in, he always daps me up. And I'm taking my daughter in. And today was actually a day I was inside the school. They have like a family first Friday. So actually it was nice because they had the door open. I went straight inside. So I don't have to deal with that. But my man was out there. He was layered up. He was
Yeah,
ready for the
man.
brick weather, but he was going through it. Like he was like, man, I can't wait to close this gate.
Yeah.
Because
Yo,
yeah.
and it reminds me of, like, I was thinking about this. I forget which NFL game I was watching the other day.
Mhm.
Oh, I was watching Monday Night Football, and Ryan Clark, he's laid up, but my man SVP is out there, bald head, no hat. I'm like,
Yo,
dog, you,
yo,
you
you know,
dog.
you know, you know what's funny about that? I don't this has to be about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It wasn't that cold, but for people who know, like I've gone bald. I came on home earlier this year and I didn't have a hat, and it was maybe like 40 degrees, and I like was like, yo, I realized like, yo, when I had hair, I could rock with that and it was fine, but like it hit me different. I was like, nah, man, you gotta SVP. I don't know how he's doing it. I couldn't even imagine not having a hat on today. Woo.
Guess
So
who's got to run a 15K in Central Park tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.?
God bless. God
Man.
bless. God, that's all I will say. God bless.
Well, here's the thing. So when you're running, they say the most important parts of your body, your hands, your feet, and your head. As
Yep.
long as those three parts of your body
You'll be
are
fine.
like warm, you good.
Yep.
So my head, I have a hat on. I'm chilling. Feet, obviously, I'm good. I'm just worried about the hands because I don't have gloves. That's what I'm worried about.
You better get some
But
gloves. What are you doing? You
yeah,
better get
man,
some.
I gotta cop some. But it's not. Yo, last week it was nice outside. This
Last week was
this
like
cold
we had
front
we had a
snuck up
we
on
had a
us.
60-degree day last week.
Yo, it's
That
crazy,
that
man.
that's it's funny. I texted my boy in Arizona this morning. I sent him the temperature. 'Cause I got up. It was 19 degrees, and he was just like, man, he's like, F that. Hey, he's from Jersey, but I'm like, yeah, man, the winter came too soon. Like that's my problem. As somebody used to actually do some weather reporting, this is my problem recently. Is the seasons they're just coming too quick. There's no like
Yeah.
transition. It's like, boom, we're here.
And on top of that, so like you walk outside today and you start to like do the mental math of, all right, man, we only got a couple more months and it's like, wait, we actually haven't even started winter yet. It's
No,
just
we
like
have not
we
officially
haven't
started
even
winter.
gotten there yet.
No,
So we got a long ways to go, my G. Long ways to
and
go.
it's yo, and wait, you're running tomorrow. Ain't it supposed to, isn't there snow in the forecast tomorrow?
Nah.
You sure?
Don't say that. I've been checking it, I've been checking the forecast for this run like 3 times a day for the last week. Nah, it's no snow.
Yo, tomorrow.
Upstate is supposed to
No,
be snowing.
no, no. This is the forecast for tomorrow. And what time is your run?
8 a.m.
A morning rain or snow shower in spots. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, not as cold. Watch for some freezing drizzle that can cause slippery spots.
Wait, but
Now,
where is that?
that's here, New York City. But
Nah.
hold on. I want to do right by you and
Central
just
Park. Just go
look
straight to
hourly.
Central. Can we do Central Park? Can we
Yeah,
like
sure.
Zero
Sure.
in on Central Park.
I want to do right by you. Let's look at Central Park.
Don't tell me that. And by the way, I'd rather snow than freezing rain.
I completely agree. 100% agree. Let me look at daily. Yeah, same thing. But I'm just looking at you for the hour because I want to make sure you're good when you run tomorrow. What do you say, 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. Sharp. Nice little 15K.
All right. So you should be done before 10 a.m.
Yeah, come
Easy.
on, 2 hours. Yeah, I'll be done before 10 a.m.
Yeah. I was making sure your
So
times are right.
wait, so 10 a.m. is when we supposed to
10
start
a.m.
getting
is
it?
when it gets to 50% chance of precipitation.
All right.
It's gonna
So
be about
that's
31. It's gonna be about 31 degrees when you start running. So right about freezing. That's not that's not bad running weather. Technically,
I'm just worried about it's the wind gust. Like the cold is fine because you'll warm up once you get 2 or 3 miles in.
right.
It's those wind gusts in Central Park as you're going uphill that are just smack you right in the face, try to take you out.
I'll tell you what. 8 a.m. tomorrow, God willing, I will be tucked under my covers.
God willing.
Hey man, well, I will think of you. I'll be like, I hope Ty's warm.
Yeah. God laughs at those who got plans, man. All of a sudden, things start popping off around the crib. You thought you was gonna sleep in.
This is
On
true.
a Saturday morning.
This is true. I mean, I do gotta get up. My daughter does have her swimming and gymnastics practice, so I will be up at some point. But hey, man, keep it moving out there in the cold for us. We appreciate you.
Dexter Henry, New York Post Sports, my guy, joining us on the show. Man, so football obviously on the table because the Giants are off. We got to get to them. Jackson Dart, I hated his press conference after that New England game just because he's appeared tone deaf. And I was talking to Jason McCourty, CBS, yesterday, and he's like, bro, if I'm in that locker room and I'm listening to this cat, say what he said and they act all reckless, I'm mad as hell if I'm the offensive line. But we'll get to the Giants, talk about the Jets, their game against Miami. But stealing the headlines this week, man, you got a Knicks jersey behind you, John Starks, Giannis. Looks like he's frustrated. He's hitting the I'm frustrated, I want to get out of here button. Right around the time where we expected. The Bucks stink, and he's out 2 to 4 weeks dealing with this calf strain. So I'll start here. The Knicks get Giannis. Can they win the title this year?
Yeah. If it depends on what they give up for him. I think that's the thing too.
Tell me what that looks like. Show me the trade, and it's realistic.
Okay.
What it looks like where they get him and they still have enough of a team around those guys, him and Brunson, where they can actually challenge Oklahoma City, who might win like 80 games this year.
Yeah, they look like they're never going to lose. So here's what I think people need to understand, and I talked about this last night on my Knicks weekly live show. This has to be almost a perfect storm for the Knicks to get Giannis. A couple things have to happen. One, he has to go. I think he's got to go to Milwaukee and say, not only do I want out, I want the Knicks, and only the Knicks. Two, you have to have Milwaukee then being willing to say, we're willing to do right by you. We're going to try to get you to New York. Okay. Let's say those two things happen. That's beneficial for the Knicks because the Knicks, here's what Knicks can't happen for the Knicks. If this is just an open sweepstakes bidding war, they're going to lose. They do not have the assets. It would be better for the Knicks and probably everybody involved. If he really wants to come to the Knicks and Milwaukee wants to do right by him, it's much better if they get a deal done draft night because the Knicks will have an extra pick to trade and an extra pick to swap that they don't have available right now. But draft night, they would. This is why you'd want it to extend there. But you're talking about this season, and I understand why there's urgency for this season because the East is actually better than people think, but it's down and it's open. There's no Boston threat. Indiana doesn't have Halliburton. There's no Tatum in Boston. So it's like if you go get Giannis and you don't get your team, the Knicks would immediately add the best player in the Eastern Conference to their roster with another top 10 player in Jalen Brunson to their roster. You could argue they'd have the two best players in the Eastern Conference on their roster. And they can win. Now, what does that look like? If those things I just mentioned happen, okay, here's the trade. You could trade Karl-Anthony Towns, which makes sense.
Obvious.
Which makes
Yeah.
sense because of money-wise, absorb so much. But here's the thing: does Milwaukee want Cat? And what do they want to do with Cat? Cat's got a couple years in his contract. He's trying to get an extension. And his argument is like, look, I was just second team, third team All NBA. I was an all-star. I've put up all these numbers. I deserve the money. The Knicks, I think, have been reluctant to give him an extension right now. Does Milwaukee want to extend him? Probably not. Milwaukee's also probably going to want you to take back what they consider not a great contract, maybe Kyle Kuzma. Okay. So now you add that's some more money. You're now who you willing to give up your Knicks? This is where you're talking about a Mitchell Robinson and maybe another player. You toss a Tyler Kolek and Pacome Dadier in there, or would you want to give up a Deuce McBride? Because I looked this up. Deuce McBride, Mitchell Robinson gets it done with Giannis and Kuzma coming back. Do you want to do that? Now you're giving up one of your best defenders, one of your best shooters, right? There is a pot. You can do a trade where you give up OG and Josh Hart. Do you want to do that? You want to give up your wings? That might hurt a little bit.
So how about Cat and Bridges for Giannis?
Milwaukee, because of their apron situation, it doesn't work. I've looked at this. It doesn't work. They'd be taking back too much money.
So throw in Kuzma.
Then you get closer. I think the Knicks are still, if I remember looking at it last night, the Knicks are still like, you'd have to throw in like Kolek or somebody, and then you can get
do it. So Bridges, Cat, and Kolek for Giannis and Kuzma.
The reason I think Milwaukee says no to that is they're taking on even though they're getting off the Kuzma stuff, they're taking on way too much money of Bridges, who extension kicks in next year. So I think they're saying
which is why you got to get a team involved. You got to get this has to be a two-team trade because if I'm Milwaukee and I'm saying bye to Giannis after I just stretched Dame's contract, what it means is I'm going into a rebuild.
Full rebuild.
And the Bucks don't have their own pick this year, so them bottoming out doesn't really have a lot of value. So you got to get a third team involved that has some assets. The Knicks have a Wizards top 8 protected pick.
It's gonna convey.
Yeah, because Washington's a disaster.
Yeah, so that's basically 2 second rounders. So
yeah, that Washington's a disaster. So they're gonna be able to keep their first round pick. But I think that as soon as you can get this done, you make it happen. I also think that, and I don't want to go back and rehash this, but if the Mikal Bridges trade doesn't happen, this is already done.
Yeah, but it did. And I still am somebody who thinks the Mikal Bridges trade was a good trade, and I would still do it again. People, you can't view it in the sense, not saying Utah, but you can't. Some fans are, oh well, if you had those picks, you could have got Giannis. But yeah, you didn't know. It's about who's available at the time. The Knicks got one of the better wings in the NBA. The price was the price because of the Nets. They're going to have the New York City tax. It is what it is. Now, let me tell you this: if you tell me that Milwaukee's going to take Cat, they're going to take the 2024 draft class and the picks they have right now, and you can get Giannis today, oh, you do that. You did in a heartbeat. Now, is that the best deal for the Bucks, in my opinion? No.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. And by the way, why would Milwaukee decide, yeah, we're going to honor Giannis's wishes? Like, what do they owe him? Like, it was a mutually beneficial partnership. He helped them win their first championship in 50 years. Mm-hmm. Like, great. We also mortgaged our future for Dame Lillard, and that was a train wreck. Like, we brought in Doc Rivers, the AJ Griffin. Like, we've had all these failed experiments. So if I'm the Bucks, love you, Giannis, we'll retire your number, hang your jersey, whatever. But I'm going for the best package, and that comes via like San Antonio or Houston, or even throw Atlanta in there. Atlanta has New Orleans lottery pick, because of the Derek Queen trade. So I'm not here for the whole like, oh, let's honor your wishes. Like, if we can do both things at the same time, then sure,
it would be beautiful. But I don't. If Giannis really wants New York, again, if Milwaukee, let's say they want to do right by him, but they also want to do what's best for the team. Like, let's say you can get those things lined up. I would even argue that even at draft night, the Knicks still wouldn't be able to offer the best deal. But it will be better than what they could offer now. It would be more reasonable to get a deal done. than what they could do right now, just because of the extra pick and extra pick they can swap. Now, when you throw that in, they might say, "Oh, we'll take Cat. We'll see if we could then flip him. We're not going to extend him, but he's got 2 years on his deal. We take him with
Yeah,
all
he's
these
not gonna
picks."
stay in Milwaukee. Like that's
Yeah,
just
no,
either a 3-team
but
trade or he's getting flipped into something else.
they'll feel better about flipping him if they have more picks down in a swap down the road. But if just what the Knicks can offer now, they're not going to feel great about flipping him, especially because of what you mentioned, which was such a great point. They have such limited assets themselves, Ty. So they have to go in a full rebuild mode. There's no incentive right now for them to tank. So they've got to get the best package that they can. And it's like, I think the problem here is I do think Milwaukee wants to do right by Giannis, but you see, Giannis is not willing to be, and my colleague Stephen Bondi said this last night, he's not willing to be the bad guy here. We don't think. He's not willing to do what James Harden or Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? Look at what happened to Dame. Dame didn't want to be the bad guy leaving Portland. He wanted Miami. Everybody knew he wanted Miami.
Yep.
But he didn't want to say, "Yo, give me Miami or else." And he was trying to make it work with Portland, and Portland ended up sending Milwaukee, and he didn't want to be in Milwaukee. Because no offense to people in Milwaukee, who wants to be in
Milwaukee? I'm pretty sure we got a lot of people from Milwaukee tuned into the show right now who are just very offended. So the reason why I bring up the Bridges trade isn't because I'm killing it. I was on the radio the night that it happened, and I thought it was too much, but I understood why the Knicks did it. But where it becomes relevant is, like, if we get to, let's just go 3 years down the line, and Giannis goes to a San Antonio or a Houston, and they win the title, and the Knicks are still sitting here at 0. Now, people in retrospect will look at Leon Rose and say, you know what? Like, the best organizations, and it's funny, you just become like a victim of your own circumstances. They're like, the best organizations pull the trigger when it's time to pull the trigger, but you wait that time happens. So it'll be viewed upon as like a panic move going to get Mikal when we then see Giannis becomes available. And you can say, well, no one knew Giannis was going to become available. It's the NBA, man. Stars are available like every 2 years. I'm waiting for Ant-Man to request a trade out of Minnesota. That's going to be the next thing that happens.
See, the problem for me is, like, we've seen the Knicks wait on stars before. I didn't have it's funny, going into the offseason, this is not hindsight. Going into that offseason, before last offseason, I thought Mikal Bridges was somebody they should go get. I was like, he's a good wing. He'll fit what they want to do. I saw what they were trying to do to match up with Boston. I saw it. Was the price steep? Yeah, it was. Do I understand why the price was steep? Yes. Would I probably have done the same thing as Leon Rose and paid that price? Yeah, I'd worry about it later. Because here's what it all comes down to the point you're making. If the Knicks get to the finals this year, or dare I say they win, I'm not saying that, but if they get to the finals this year, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care. Now, if they flame out second round or something, and they never get there with Bridges, then it'll be. That's why it matters. It matters what happens.
And Bridges is actually having a damn good year.
He's having a great season. He's been the Knicks' most consistent player, easily, hands down.
He's been awesome. So the Giannis stuff fascinates me. I'm excited about. I mean, anytime you have one of the 4 best players in the league still in his prime with that resume available, then you're excited. And I've talked about this with you before. It's why I get so annoyed with baseball. It's like, oh wow, it's the commencement of the winter meetings this weekend. I'm like, who the hell cares, man? Like,
baseball. We think we have talked about this before. Baseball's off season is like so poorly done. It's
a snooze fest, bro.
Yeah, it's because everything is drawn out. It's like we had the GM meetings, and I was just talking with Joel Sherman about this other day, and I was just texting with John Heyman because we're gonna try to do something on Sunday around the Mets, like a winter meetings primer. And it's like, got the winter meetings, and basketball does it the best. I don't care what nobody says. NFL free agency is really good too, but the NBA, June 30th is gonna be drama. You sitting with your phone, you got your alerts on.
Lit.
You know what I'm saying? Baseball, we could get to Thursday and nobody could be signed of any importance.
It's unbelievable, bro. It's unbelievable. And I actually think instituting a cap helps solve this problem because
Ooh,
if there's a max contract, then why the hell are we negotiating for 5 weeks like that? Like the Juan Soto dragged out for as long as it did
yeah.
because so many teams were able to like just up the number that he was previously offered. But if there's a max contract, then like there's no like there's nothing that that changes. It's just whoever's offering me a max contract, I can pick between those teams and the team I want to go to more. So I think the salary cap is going to help it, but I just could not be less interested in baseball free agency right now.
I I'm with you. That sounds like crazy talk from two people who like obviously we have to pay attention to what's going on, right?
Yeah,
Like, so,
yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's just that it's so different. Like I'm actually thinking about in the shows that I work on at the New York Post, and I do. So even if it's, and it'll be interesting with the Liberty because they have the whole CBA this offseason, right? But even once that is resolved and over with, it's gonna be like, let's go. We know exactly
yeah,
what time it is. It's gonna be crazy
yeah.
because it's gonna be a crazy free agency for the WNBA. It's gonna be fun actually. It's gonna be really fun. The
Hmm.
NBA, you know what time it is. Baseball's just too. You're right. It's drawn out, and you know what? You made a great point that I had never considered before. The thing about no matter look, I'm all about players earning the most they can earn, but the thing about having caps and a max contract and all that stuff is you know who's in the game, who's not in the game. That's it. There's no illusions of this, right? Like in baseball, it'll be like, I think the Blue Jays can make a great offer to Juan Soto. Are they really in the game? Were they really in
Yeah,
the game? Were they not? You know what I'm saying? Or it's just like they're putting some stuff out there to appease their fans. This and when you kind of don't know what the market is. It allows for a lot of BS. Pete Alonso is a great example of this right now. Word is he's not really been getting offers like that. Hey, you know what? If there was a max contract he could get, we know who could offer him and who couldn't, and that's
yeah,
it.
and then it also helps like the teams like the Pirates who are just comfortable going 62 and 100 every year, they actually have to spend money because there'll be a salary
Floor.
floor.
Mm-hmm.
So like it makes the sport more interesting. Like the fact that we're watching the Rockies, the Nationals, the White Sox, the Pirates just stink year after year after year. I just don't think it's good for the league.
I agree.
And and like football obviously doesn't have I guess the Jets would be that team. I was gonna say football doesn't have like those bad teams year after year after year, but at least with the Jets, like they're interesting, right? To start the season, you're like, all right, we've got Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what can happen. This past season, it was like, all right, we'll see what happens with Justin Fields. Baseball with bad teams, there's nothing interesting about them. And to sit through, like, it's the worst sport
It's
to
too
root
long.
for a bad team.
It's too long.
I've got 180 days of just rooting for a team that has no chance of accomplishing anything.
And this wouldn't be popular, but I think the baseball season should be reduced.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
if it was up to me, baseball could go down to 120. I'd shave off 30 games. I want to shave off a month. And what I would do, but the reason because I mean this, I think you'd get better baseball, right? Like you'd be able to have a little bit more breaks between series. It would allow pitchers to rest and be better for the game. I'm for it. It doesn't have to go as long. We can start the playoffs a little earlier when it's a little warm out there instead of freezing our asses off in October. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to do that. But the problem with baseball is baseball is so reflective of America. It is the slowest sport to change. It is the least progressive sport. People are going to be like Ty's talking about the salary cap. Oh my God, we can't have a salary cap because we've done it this way for 100 years. Yeah, you can't. Like, it's just like I was talking with somebody recently. I don't know, Ty, where were you? How did you feel about the DH being universal? Where were you on that?
Honestly, I loved it. Like to pretend like we actually enjoy seeing
Yes.
Randy Johnson hit 4 times a game is just ridiculous. Like none of that was fun. It was actually quite embarrassing. I don't know if you remember this game, Subway Series, Yankees and Mets, when
Bartolo Colon.
no,
Wow.
Masahiro Tanaka is on third base, and I forget who the hitter was, but they hit a sac fly, and Tanaka's running from third base to home, bro. That's
Oh,
90 feet in a
yeah.
straight line. And that man blew out not just one hamstring, blew out both of his hamstrings. And that's when it like really hit a crescendo for me. Like we can't have
You can't be
pitchers
doing this no more.
batting and putting them on bases. As embarrassing as it is for a professional athlete at that level to not be able to run 90 feet in a straight line without tearing both his hamstrings. Like I don't want to watch pitchers hit. Like it's just there's not enough. Like we get the Bartolo Colon home run experience in San Diego, but there's not enough of that to satisfy us doing it for an entire season.
I agree 100%. That's where I came. And I liked it when I was young. I grew up a Mets fan. And so it was National League, the pitchers hit and, all the players that play should be playing in the game. And I used to actually subscribe to that. And then I was like, this isn't good. Like when you just look at it, it's not good for the game. I'd rather see a better hitter come up in that spot all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and the baseball purists are like, well, strategy, because now it's like, do you pinch hit for your guy who's dealing, or do you let him go hit? Like, okay, man, there are numerous ways we can find strategy to make the game fun.
Yeah, the whole game is strategic.
Yeah,
Strategic. How do you handle a better hitter in the lineup? Get some
yeah.
strategy on that. That'd be fine.
But I do hope things pop off in baseball this weekend. Devin Williams, that's fun, right? Like
Oh
everyone's all
yeah.
excited about. I mean, he's gonna go to the Mets and be awesome. Like that's just gonna happen. But Cody Bellinger, I don't know if you saw Michael K yesterday on ESPN Radio in New York, the station I work at. He was like it's on the table. The Yankees do dip under like 300 million. They're currently at like 276, 277, like in that range, which means they're not signing and he's not saying this definitively, but
Right.
he's saying it's on the table that like that is a plan for them, which means those big time free agents that everyone wants just ain't gonna happen. And if
This
could you imagine?
all the stuff with the Yankees feels weird, man. Because it's like this isn't the Yankees way. I agree. Like the Yankees are out here being like, "Yo, we ain't got the money no more. We're broke." Like that's not the Yankees. And here's the
Yeah,
thing. Here's the thing. But it's reflective of sports. Like this is not me crapping on the Steinbrenner family or anything. And this is, I think, sometimes happens in sports. It's hard to compete when you're not in the space of the new money. And you got to look at who's owning these teams, the money that's behind them, and the Yankees probably need like an influx of some new money into what they're doing. We just saw this with the Lakers. They're
so
one of the
sell the
last.
team. So
What
sell
do
the
you say?
team. So sell the team.
Here's the
If I
thing.
could get a Steve Ballmer,
Listen, I understand, but your point. Yes, I'm processing what you're saying, and yes, I understand why those people, the Steinbrenners, are fighting to not sell the team because it's such a flex to have the team. But it's not a
yeah.
flex. Yo, you're the owner of the Yankees, and you're not keeping up the Yankee standard of winning. That's not a flex.
Exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
Like that's that
exactly.
because if you own, this is no shade to another team, you own the Milwaukee Brewers and you own it for a long time as a family run, people are gonna be in a league that doesn't have a salary cap. This is the key. In a league that doesn't have a salary cap, you can be like, yo, I'm the owner of the Brewers. But when you say you're the owner of the Yankees, people looking at you like, yo, when's the last time you won? You're supposed to be winning. This right?
Yo,
Yeah.
but which is why Hal is gonna be one of the owners pushing for a salary cap. Which is
Yeah.
like in my mind, I can't comprehend that because
Yeah.
it's just
I
like
get it.
I
Yeah.
get it, but then there's a part of my brain where it's like that don't make no sense, man.
It feels I hope people understand what I'm saying. Because you just said you're a proponent of a salary cap, and I know you, but it's just weird coming from him because that's not
Yes,
the Steinbrenner way is like, yo, whatever it takes,
yeah.
we're gonna try to win,
My
right?
brain cannot comprehend the owner of the New York Yankees pushing for a cap to how much money we can spend on rosters. Again, I understand
Yeah,
like
yeah.
once we dig deeply into it, why and but I guess Dave Roberts the other day with the Dodgers, I thought I saw him say like he'd be
Mm-hmm.
fine with a salary cap, which is interesting. But it's just wild, man. The times we live in are wild. And look, I to some degree, am I a spoiled Yankee fan? Absolutely. Do I talk and
I mean,
present
yeah, those
myself
things go
as
hand in
someone
hand.
who comes from a place of privilege in that fandom? Sure. But I can also be honest and acknowledge there was a time, man, y'all used to be the gold standard. There was a time where the Yankee organization was viewed as the best in not just baseball, but in all the sports. And think about how many teams have passed them. Like we can go through all the sports, right? The Dodgers have passed them. You could argue like the Astros cheating or whatever, they've passed them. The Red Sox have won more, they've passed them. Let's go to football. Kansas City, man, New England. Like, look at these organizations that have passed the New York Yankees. Hockey, I can't speak to. I don't know about Colorado and Tampa Bay, but as far as being the gold standard of winning, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Boston Celtics, the Yankees are like what, ninth, 10th in baseball, or 10th in sports when it comes to like what the gold standard is. That's not the Yankee way.
It's funny because I had this conversation with somebody the other day about my Steelers, and I've been wondering this in sports. Is it fair for us to have an expectation of standards when so much has changed around sports, particularly in the last 20 to 25 years, right? You're right. And I get why it feels weird because you're like, yeah, you said you're a spoiled Yankee fan. I mean, I agree. I think all Yankee fans are that. But standards change as things change. And if you don't evolve with it, this is where we're talking about with the money. This is what we're really talking about. The reason the Dodgers are such a standard now in baseball is because of the money they have. They are literally what the Yankees were in the 90s.
But that's what I'm talking about.
But the Yankees had all the money, but now the money game and what's around with these billionaires has changed, man. It's new money. It's all in different areas. And if you had money as a family business, family-owned business, you can't really compete with the Steve Cohens of
All
the
right, so
world.
how about this? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Point well taken. So a couple of things.
Yeah.
If the standard had just been like erased for everyone, and there's no like clear-cut organization with an advantage or winner, then
Yeah.
I'd understand that. But you just brought up the Dodgers, who are in the midst of a dynasty. We
Yep.
talk about the Red Sox, who keep winning, and I know they have their faults, and Red Sox fans don't love their ownership, who had the you know had the audacity to trade Mookie Betts. But even if you are, let's say, hard capped at a number financially, shouldn't that mean you want the best person who's able to utilize those financial resources?
Yes.
In
Still,
other
yes,
words,
I agree.
like, if Brian Cashman is a cool GM, like, fine, he's pretty dope. But is he the best GM in baseball? If the answer to that causes you to like stutter or fumble with your words, then the answer is he shouldn't be your general manager.
So here's my thing. This kind of goes to the cap stuff. This is kind of why I sometimes like a cap. It's not even just sometimes about the competitive balance. It helps us get rid of all the bullshit around it. Like, either you can run a good organization or you can't. Because sometimes you can have a whole lot of money to play with, and you can bring that doesn't mean you're really a well-run organization. It just means you got a lot of money, right? And like when you've got the salary cap in there, now we're gonna see who's really good. Now, the point you're making, and I think it's an interesting one. How dope is Brian Cashman? Because Brian Cashman was at the top of his game when the Yankees were the Dodgers.
Yeah, right.
To your point, I don't know how dope Brian Cashman is. In a salary cap sport, I think you really get to see how well-run organizations are. There's a reason the Heat are revered in basketball for how they run, because they'll go through their ups and downs. It doesn't matter if they're constant with the coach. My Steelers in football, even though people want to act like they want to poo-poo that Mike Tomlin has made the playoffs so all these years now had a losing record, like that's something to sneeze at. And the Steelers, I think, have to adjust their standard. I'm saying this too. I'm being fair all the way around. I think, to your point, though, if baseball is going to stay the same and not have a salary cap, then I'm sure what you would like. That's why you said sell the team. And I know people are going to hear that and say that sounds harsh, but you're like, hey, if you're the Yankees and you bout this Yankee stuff, which is supposed to be winning, then you got to get money that gets you in the game. Because right now it doesn't feel like you're in the game.
Or make the choice. Make the choice. Let's not be half pregnant. Either decide, listen, we're not financially capable of running the team that we are used to, or in the way that we are used to. Or you say, whatever. I don't want to call it financial constraints, but given what we have,
Mm.
We have to go out there and get the best, not one of the best, not a top 5 or top 10, but the very best general manager, because to go 16 years without winning a World Series, quite frankly, for the New York Yankees is an embarrassment. It's embarrassing. You just brought up Mike Tomlin. That man is about to get fired. And what you just talked about is they've made the playoffs. They finished above 500 every year for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. So it's time for him to be held accountable. John Harbaugh, that man could get fired. He's won a Super Bowl. The Ravens 2 years ago win the AFC Championship game. But when you've got Lamar Jackson, a league MVP in his prime, and you're not winning championships, you're going to be held accountable. I'm just asking for the standard, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's not financially what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to winning, that should still take precedence over everything, including hurting some people's feelings.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny, the three situations you brought up, I think they're all very interesting. I think Cashman's a good GM. I don't think he's a bad GM by any means or anything like that. I've said this, so I've been on record saying this before. This is going to tie where the Yankees and Steelers are a little bit more aligned to me in this. I don't think it's crazy for somebody to say it's time for Cashman to go, because I wonder if there needs to be a whole philosophical shift. I actually believe in that more than anything. Where I defend Mike Tomlin, and I love that you brought up John Harbaugh. I love that you brought that up. I really believe this. If Mike Tomlin had Lamar Jackson,
they would have won already.
Yeah. And this is the point. This is the point I've been trying to make to people. I've been arguing with my producers about this. Mike Tomlin is such a good coach that he's been out here doing the Lord's work with, I don't want to call them bums, mediocre quarterbacks.
Oh, Mason Rudolph doesn't exactly check your box of excellent quarterback.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Dynasty Mason Rudolph on the field. He's been doing the Lord's work out here. And so my problem is, as a Steelers fan, is you guys have not got this man a quarterback. And people be like, doesn't Mike Tomlin have some saying who the quarterback is? Well, the Steelers, they hang on to some of their tradition. They'll never move up in the first round to go get a quarterback. They never do this, right? They've invested a lot of money into the defense to balance it out. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin is without any accountability. It's not the point I'm making. But I actually don't think he's the biggest problem there. I think the biggest problem is how they think about approaching the game. And that starts from the top. That's ownership. And again, this is me. I think ownership skates way too much on team failures when things change, Ty. Right? The Yankees ownership is skating by on it. They're living off the Steinbrenner name, but Hal and Hank ain't their daddy. And this ain't 1970, 1980, or 1990. The Art Rooney sons is not their father. This is in the 70s. And is ownership doing the best thing by the fans? But fans will be like, oh, we're from this great organization. We have this great standard. But have you changed as the times have changed? Has the ownership evolved as the times have changed? And we let owners skate by for not doing anything. And people criticize Cashman. What about the Steinbrenners? Why don't they get criticized?
Well, they get criticized. To me, sometimes, like, because fans are so emotional, and this will happen, like, you get into an argument with your lady and you're mad emotional, so you just start saying random stuff that really don't make much sense. I think what Yankee fans do, like, right after a playoff exit, they mischaracterize their criticism of ownership in this regard. It's like, well, Hal is cheap. And it's like, well, no, he's not, because if you look at the last decade, they're a top 3 payroll in baseball every single year. The problem with Hal and how he gets criticized is this. You are continuing to point out that these seasons end in failures, and yet the people most responsible for said failures, you fail to hold accountable. It's the same thing that's happening, like you said, with the Steelers. And Steelers fans are like, yo, how are we outraged every single year to go a decade without a playoff win? As the Pittsburgh Steelers it should be such an embarrassment. Someone's held accountable. And that's what Yankee fans are calling for to their ownership and the Steinbrenners. Steeler fans are saying the same thing. I think it's interesting you brought up those, the parallels, because there are a lot between Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and the Yankees,
There
which are
is.
three obviously of the profound organizations in their sports.
Yeah, and Baltimore, who Steelers fans have no love for, you got to. They're a well-run organization. They're a very, very well-run organization. They're one of the more respected run organization football of the last 2 decades because of how they've adjusted and they've evolved. The Steelers will be their consistency. I'm not saying Steeler fans should just hang their hat on, oh, we go 9-8. Oh, we have a winning record. Mike Tomlin's saying is the standard, right? That is a Mike Tomlin-ism right there. I do think your standards have to evolve with the time, but you have to evolve with the time. That's my criticism of the Steelers. That's my criticism of the Yankees. How are you evolving with the time, Ty? That's the biggest thing. And for me, what I see with the Steelers, maybe it's a coach and Tomlin could go. But I look at it more as like it's an organizational mindset. And that's another thing I worry about with the Yankees, too. You're right. You can't criticize Hal and Hank you can't criticize them for the spending because they're top 3. Now, the problem for Yankee fans is it's a new day. Y'all ain't spending. It was nice when you were the evil empire, when you could outspend everybody. But that's not where you are today.
Yeah, so go out there and get the best general manager and best manager. If you can't outspend teams, cool. We've lost that luxury. Now let's go do what we can, because we still have a luxury in the fact that we are able to. There's no salary cap in the sport, and there's obviously no salary cap to who you can hire in front office roles and the managerial roles. Let's go out there and get the best tandem, because we're still the New York Yankees at the end of the day.
So you want Cashman gone?
Yeah, I should have been gone years ago. Should have been gone. The moment they missed the playoffs in 2023 should have been that should have been it should have been clipped for cash. And that's not to say he's a bad GM. He stinks. It's cool, man. You've been here for 40 years, bro. Like at some point, it's time for you to get the step in. And it's okay. It happens everywhere. It's like, all right, you've been great in your role. Done it. You've been fantastic. We appreciate you. Let's clap it up. But it's time for you to go, man. We need a fresh voice. We need a new philosophy. Like that, those things happen.
Sometimes you gotta make changes too. I'm also for that. It's like I love Mike Tomlin, but if Mike Tomlin is fired in the season, especially if Steelers look like they did Sunday the rest of the way, he's done.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
cooked. Now, there's also a world in which the Steelers could go 4-1 or 5-0 over the next 5 games. Maybe they win a playoff game. I'm not saying that'll happen. If they win a playoff game, it's going to be hard to keep them. If they win a playoff game and they win a playoff game with this version of Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to hear any Mike Tomlin criticisms because he's won with no quarterback. He's got an old quarterback. You know I didn't want Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. You know this. I did not want any of this. Because what I wanted was just put Mason Rudolph out there. Let's be 4-13, 5-12.
Yo, but the standard is the standard. 4-13 is not the standard.
Sometimes sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom to head back up.
Nah, ain't no hitting rock bottom, especially when this could be the last year that I'm the head coach of this team. Hell no.
That's the thing. And people gotta remember they gave Tomlin an extension at the end of last season. So which is why I personally thought it was going to take not just this season. This season will have to go terribly wrong, and next season. But what I've asked Steelers fans time and time again is, right here at this point in the season, they're 6-6. When you looked at this team, did you think they were going to be better than 6-6 after 12 games? I didn't.
What you think?
Yeah, I thought they'd be 6-6.
Oh, you thought they would be 500?
Yeah,
but I think it's less about being 6-6.
It's how it's looked.
How it's looked recently when you actually started the season off. What were they, 3-1?
Yeah, but did you think this is the thing? Aaron Rodgers, this happened with this happened last year with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers can't move, man. I've been saying this.
But once you get to a point where you're 3-1 and Rodgers actually looked pretty good the first month of the season, you're like, all right. And the Ravens, and this is really why Steelers fans are tight and have a reason.
Because the Ravens
were 1-5.
Yep.
The Bengals were 3-8. Joe Burrow was cooked.
Yep.
You had the Browns being the Browns. So this was your year to win the division, and not just win the division, but win it pretty easily.
You had a 3-game lead at a point.
Yeah.
But see, I knew something was amiss, and I was in Pittsburgh for the Packers game Sunday night, end of October. But the week before that, they played the Bengals. And I remember short week Thursday night, and I was nervous about the game. And I
Like Joe
told,
Flacco.
and I told someone, I said, yo, this game makes me nervous. It made me nervous. You saw Jalen Ramsey get cooked by Jamar Chase in that game. It
Jamar
made
was
me nervous.
destroying that man.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, if they win this game, I said I'll feel good about the season. They should win the division. They did not win that game.
They almost did.
They almost did coming back, but they did not. The defense looked terrible in that game.
Terrible. That was awful, man.
So this Steeler team is what they're average. You know what I think the record's going to be at the end of the season?
What's that?
Take a wild guess, Ty.
9-8. And that might be good enough to make the playoffs in that dumb division.
It might. Now, here can I give you a hot take that I have? I've been needling one of my producers about this. If I'm a Steelers fan, and let's say they're getting us a wild card, I'd love to see the Broncos.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I do. They're not good. The Broncos are this year's version of the Vikings last year. They win all these close games. I don't believe in Bo Nix. I do not think they're that good. They are primed to be upset. Give me the Broncos.
Who's got the best defense in football?
They do.
I said who? I said who?
Broncos.
Okay, so you would be excited about the best defense in football going after a guy that you called can't run anymore, who you just said can't run anymore. That excites you?
Here's why. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to put up enough points that are going to make you wow against that defense. I love the Broncos defense. I think they're great. I think what they can do is I think they could run the ball well enough, manage the game, and I think the Steelers defense can do enough against Bo Nix. And I'm asking the defense to win this game. This is literally what I'm doing.
Yeah, how'd that work out last week for your defense?
Well, I mean, but how did it work out when we played the Colts? We exposed Daniel Jones and them. We gave everybody a blueprint on that.
Yeah, and by the way, that win hasn't really aged well because Daniel Jones hasn't looked the same.
It hasn't. But
the Colts have fallen all over themselves.
They have. I'm just saying, if the Steelers defense can dial up for one game against that mediocre Broncos offense, because it's mediocre.
I think you're nuts, bro.
No, do you think the Broncos are good?
I think they could win this. I think that
win the Super Bowl.
No, here's my take on the Broncos, and it actually works for a lot of AFC teams. Okay. I think that the Broncos can either get clipped in the first round or win the Super Bowl.
I think they're more likely to. I think they're way more likely to get clipped in the first round.
But I think both outcomes are equally as likely.
I don't think that. I disagree. I do not.
Because I got mad respect for that defense.
I do, Bob. You know what? I don't have respect for? That offensive Bo Nix. I don't have respect for them.
I know, man, but we have seen teams go on runs like the 2015 Broncos with washed Peyton Manning, and I get in name it's different.
That defense was all time. That's better than this defense.
But I heard a stat today that they actually might end up, and take this for what you will, more sack. This defense might end up with more sacks than that 2015 Broncos defense.
That would be crazy because that 2015 defense
was insane.
I mean, they do have an extra game to play with, but yes, I hear you.
But I think they could wrap it up before that extra game. But my point is,
if they do that, that's wildly impressive, though. You have to give.
My point is, bro, I don't know if you want an old quarterback in cold weather going up. An old quarterback in cold weather with a fractured left hand who can't play under center, so he's in shotgun the entire time, going up against that defense, especially because him being in shotgun the entire game means your run game's not going to be as effective.
That's where I'll give you. So if Rodgers was healthy and could run the ball, hand it off, I'd feel better about it. That's where I do agree on that point. I just don't think the Broncos are that good, and I think somebody could upset them. Probably not my Steelers.
They can get upset.
They can get got.
They can, but it's just you look at the AFC. It's like, yo, you know what's so funny? I was thinking about this as I'm watching the Patriots like manhandle the Giants. So since the Jets last made the playoffs, the Patriots have won multiple Super Bowls and have undergone multiple rebuilds and are now the number one AFC the number one seed in the AFC. Like, just think about that. The Jets playoff drought has gone so long. We've seen like four different versions of the Patriots winning Super Bowls, rebuild with Mac Jones, rebuild with Drake May, and now they're the one seed. It's crazy.
The standard is standard, and the Jets are the Jets. That's
And now I got to
I
get excited about Jets Dolphins on Sunday.
you're not going to be excited about it. It's just good luck.
I can't figure out if I want them to win this game though.
Well, we can talk about what we talked about. Talked about the last time you were on me. I do think Jets fans should be excited about how this team is playing for Aaron Glenn. I do think that matters. I do. I think it shows you he had never lost the locker room. He's got guys there to respect him. The Jets are playing hard, and maybe even harder after they made those trades for getting Sauce and Quentin Williams out of here. I've been impressed with that. And look, people say all this stuff in football. If you don't got a quarterback, it don't matter. I'd like to see what I want to see. What
Broncos?
Yeah, the defense. I think it will matter. I think Bo Nix is gonna hold him back. But I do think I'd love to see what Aaron Glenn could do with a quarterback. I'd love to, because look, he's got the defense. The defense looks way more disciplined than it early in the season. Way more disciplined. Good for Aaron Glenn. You were critical of him, and rightfully so. We talked about this last time he came on. After the first 7 games, you were critical, and the way he handled some stuff in the media, I think you were right. You did need to learn from that. I agree with you 100%. And guys can learn, and we'll see how he is in year 2. But I think how he's finishing year 1, I'm impressed with that. I think you just got to see if they can get the right pieces, get a quarterback. Can the Jets, because Justin Fields we see is not it. And look, I was a Justin Fields defender for a while. Justin Fields ain't it. Okay,
couldn't be me.
Yeah, Justin Fields is not it. Tyrod Taylor, great backup. Look, he's showing you that now. I mean, he's a good backup. Do you want him playing 7-8 games at this stage of his career? No. I think Tyrod Taylor's probably been one of the most unlucky quarterbacks, because I always felt like he could have been better than what he was. He just had a lot of bad luck, but he's not the answer. So the Jets need a quarterback, man.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that they might punt on this thing this offseason, because all we're hearing is that we could get closer and closer to just being a one quarterback class. I want to see Fernando Mendoza tomorrow in that game against Ohio State. But if like Ty Simpson, Dante Moore decide they're going back to college, what do you do? And please don't trade for Kyler Murray. Once I hear quarterbacks say once I hear quarterbacks say the reason he's having trouble is because he can't see over his offensive line, then I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Kyler Murray. No, can I throw some other names out for you?
Don't say Mac Jones.
I was gonna say Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
Good. I think that's
I'm
right.
Good.
I think that's the right answer. Who else could the Jets be in the mix for?
It's like a Jacoby Brissett, I guess. I don't know what Jacoby Brissett.
Yo, somebody's gonna do this. Would you take a chance on Trey Lance?
Nah. He hasn't played.
Why not play him with the Jets?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. It's hard to fully evaluate, and that's another thing people got to factor in. Like, one of the reasons why you go to Tyrod is because for the Jets, it was important to evaluate what they had on offense. And it's hard to do that when you have a net negative at quarterback.
Yes.
So the reason why you can get excited about, A.D. Mitchell and John Mechie and Mason Taylor and Breece Hall and even the offensive line is because you have competency. It's not Tyrod, some excellent quarterback. He's fine. He's like a backup. But he gave you something. He gave you enough to where you could fully evaluate the team. We're going to trade. When's the last time Trey Lance actually got into a game?
Last week, I think. He got in the game last week.
I meant started a game.
Oh.
Trey Lance, I'm going to put up his...
The second game of his career in San Francisco before he got hurt? Probably that.
He started one game for... I remember. He started one game for Dallas last year. So he's got 5 career NFL starts. And that's the dude...
That's
the dude
I'm not saying it's me, But somebody out there is like, but Ty, you just gotta give him a chance, man.
Nah, I'm good.
Nobody's
I'm good.
nobody's
Trust
giving
me.
him a chance.
Cool. Because
You was
I
like
also,
Malcolm with
I
the
also,
Jet.
I also run like, and this is not scientific at all, but it's the Kyle Shanahan test. If Kyle Shanahan can't make you good, if Kyle Shanahan decides like he'd rather not have you, then I'm good.
Fair. Kyle Shanahan said, I'm gonna roll with Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, and not with you, even though we gave up all this draft capital to move
To
up to
get you.
get you.
Yeah.
Yo, one thing about that told me about Kyle Shanahan, I know people criticized it at the time, but when the trade was made and I looked at it, I said, you know what? The good thing here is they realized when they had a sunk cost. I think that is an admirable quality. Realizing when something just, hey, that ain't it. Let's get out.
Yeah. I mean, you
It's a
could
sunk
do
cost.
that when you got security.
This is
You gotta
true. Good
have job
organization,
security.
but good organizations will empower that too. That when
Yeah.
there is a sunk cost to get off of it and say, we're not going to invest anymore in this, because they could have said, oh, we gave up all this draft capital. We got to play him. We got to make it work. And it's a great point. Kyle Shanahan said no after limited starts, and they'd given all this stuff up. You're right about the organization. San Francisco, John Lynch and company empowered their coach. You have to have that for that to happen. The Jets have not been an organization to make that happen, so I understand why you can't take the chance on Trey Lance. I completely get it.
So when you hear Jackson Dart after 2 missed games because of a concussion, come back and continue to take hits, just unnecessary hits against that Patriot defense that clearly was trying to be physical and take that guy out. When you hear this dude say, yeah, I mean, that's just who I am. I'm not going to change. Like, I was just so turned off by that. And I like Jackson Dart. I think he's done almost everything right this year. But
Mm-hmm.
at some point, you have to realize how much of an asset you are. Like, you're the greatest asset to the team. You're more important than the general manager. You're more important than the head coach. You're the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So your best ability, as people say, is your availability, and you put your team at risk when you're not out there. So I need you to be accountable. I also need you to not be combative and show some type of maturity and professionalism. What do you make of that?
So yeah, I never like when people, it's a phrase I just generally don't like. But people say when they're younger is, this is who I am. Right? Like, yeah, this is who you are, but this is not who you have to be. You can always be better. We can always grow and be better. We don't have to be the same person. There are things about me that make me who I am, but that doesn't mean that's who I have to be tomorrow. Right? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody says to me, hey man, you're doing this and this is hurting yourself or the team, and I'm like, I could sit back and have some reflection and awareness and say, okay, yo, maybe I'm doing that. This is impacting somebody differently. Okay, let me change that up. It's going to be challenging. Change is hard, but that's what we do. He sounds like he's 22. That's what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, sometimes I have to look at people and say they're really young and immature. And he's going to have to mature in this front. I don't think understands what you just said about his value to the team. But I guess this is what kind of the disconnect for me is. You would think you would just care about yourself and your own health,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like, if you don't protect yourself, you're not going to get these checks. You're not going to make these bags. Your goal right now, your rookie deal is trying to win and secure the next bag, to secure generational wealth for yourself and your family. You think you at least care about himself. I think his mistake in the New York media is just saying, oh, yeah, that's who I am. Again, sound like a 22-year-old. It sounds like
Yo,
you don't get the job, or you're not caring. Somebody's got to pull the young man to the side and say, you got to value these things.
so I respect the fact that, and we do this a lot in football, like and basketball too, laying it down on the line. Like no one gets more excited than the fan watching one of the role players die for a loose ball in the NBA. And it's like, yeah, that's my kind of guy. Wants to do everything to win. Yo, it got so crazy in the NBA where Kevin Durant actually used to get criticized because before the NBA changed the rule at the end of quarters, Kevin Durant went something like 5, 6, 7 years without taking one of those uh, full court heaves that we see Steph do because he cares too much about his percentage. So people want like empirical evidence that you quote unquote care about winning. So I appreciate the fact that Dart is like, man, fighting for extra yardage against these linebackers. I'm him. But the problem is, like you said, man, like there comes a point where there needs to be some type of maturity. And by the way, we've seen you almost every week go into that damn tent. Like we see it. You go into the tent every. It's like a weekly checkup. It's like, all right, yep, he's going into the
Yeah,
tent.
Jackson
It's like
Dart time in the blue tent.
yo, it's like when you hanging out with your family, y'all eating. It could be Thanksgiving, and it's like one of your uncle goes upstairs. He's going to the bathroom. Like, oh, we know he about to do. He about to go drop a loaf, drop a deuce, because that's just what he does. That's Jackson Dart every Sunday going into the tent. So
Yeah.
it's like, my man, like he's got one, and it's what makes Cam Scatterable great. It's what makes Jackson Dart great. They have one gear. They only one gear. But bro, when we've seen you get concussed multiple times, I just need you to change that.
I think the challenge is for guys like that one gear got them to the NFL, but it's not what's going to keep you in the NFL. And I think that's what they have to learn. That one gear could put you out of there. Like this, I'm not gonna say the person is, but somebody in the media I always talk to about. I was talking about Cam Scatterable. He's a Giants fan. He's like, yo, man, I love Cam Scatterable, but like, yo, he plays like he's walking CTE. And I'm like, yes, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Like the way he plays. I mean, any player can get CTE in a variety of ways, so we're not making fun of that. But it's just
yeah.
he plays with such a reckless abandon, right? Like leading head first, like taking all these blows to the head. Jackson Dart understand his value to the team, especially a team that has been starved for a quarterback. I mean, nobody's been more starved than the Jets or probably the Browns, but the Giants have been starved for a quarterback since Eli Manning, and you have a chance to be that guy. You've done a lot of good things right. He also has to recognize, like, again, I chalk this up to him being 22 years old. Accountability is the best thing you can do. You want to win the fans, be accountable. Yeah, you know what? I got to be better at that. I got to protect the ball. I got to protect myself. I have to lead this team, and I've got to be out there leading this team. Just be accountable. I'm sure you're tired of the questions. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but you got to be accountable.
Yeah. So two quick things to end off here. The
Yes.
rare opportunity we get to react to breaking news.
Oh,
Backup quarterback Justin Fields, who reported knee soreness on Wednesday, has been ruled out for Sunday per Aaron Glenn, meaning rookie Brady Cook will be QB2. So there are multiple layers to this. Unfortunately, because of how my brain works, I always operate with like a healthy level of skepticism.
I have some here too.
I remember just last week there was a story that went out that said, Justin Fields had been asked by the Jets to be like a gadget player where like he could be brought in for specific packages, and he wasn't really in love with the idea. So now I find it strange that a guy who's not playing pops up on the injury report with knee soreness to the point where he's ruled out. So I don't know. I find this to be a story that actually has more, let's just say, more meat and potatoes than what we're being sold so far.
I'm also going to add, I'm with you on the skepticism. I'm not, conspiracy theory guy, but I think this is skeptical. How does he get sore? He's not even playing. I'm not saying he couldn't get it sore in practice. How to get sore? And let's also add this. Justin Fields was asked by my colleague Brian Costello. I believe this was before last Sunday's game. He walked up to him in the locker room and asked him about how he was dealing with the quarterback change. And he kind of was like on some, man, it is what it is. Like, seemed a little bit annoyed, like, that he asked, but he answered it, man, it is what it is. I just got to roll with it. Brian Costello tweeted that had happened. He was not available to the media. This was him just walking up to him. And then Breece Hall quote tweeted that and was like criticizing the media for doing their job and asking him the question. Now, Brees Hall, I feel like, could have kept that same energy for other things
right?
when the Jets were losing or his quarterback wasn't playing good. So it's interesting you defend. It didn't seem like Justin Fields was too annoyed by the question. He answered the question to Brian Costello. But then I thought it was interesting that Brees Hall did. And I'm wondering what the vibes are there with Justin Fields, who's maybe mad he lost his job. Now, look, man, Justin Fields, you got $30 million guaranteed this year to sign here. I was told Justin Fields wanted to go back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did not want to give him more than $20 million guaranteed. The Jets were willing to give him more than that. I understand you want to play, but we've seen the tape, bro. We've seen it. You haven't played well. If I'm not saying he is, but if this is a I'm pouting situation, I don't want to do what it is to win the team. Okay. This is probably the Jets' way, and if Aaron Glenn is doing this, this is all hypothetical. Aaron Glenn is like, okay, you don't want to help the team, you want to be part of the team and do whatever. Good for Aaron Glenn, because you can't sell that to the other 52 guys there. You can't sell that. They're going to see that. Oh, this dude doesn't want to be in it. If we all about whatever it takes to win, and we're like, we can utilize, and you getting $30 million guaranteed, and you're not going to come and do these packages because you think it's beneath you. And I would question, is it? Is it beneath you, Justin Fields? And the play that you've shown at the position of quarterback? Come on. This isn't like what some of the older black quarterbacks had to go to back in the day. This is what Warren Moon had to go through when they didn't want to let him play. They've let you play, Justin Fields. We've seen it. You have not got the job done. It's a results. And I think this might be the Jets' way of doing this without fully embarrassing him.
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
And so it's like, yo, all right, man, go take. You're gonna take a seat. Take a seat on the injured list.
So I think that, and I want to be fair because I obviously was critical of Justin Fields, the quarterback. I thought that there was an opportunity for him to come in here, and I don't think it was going to ever maximize the way that like Jared Goff, because we want to do the Detroit Lions parallels. It was never going to be what Jared Goff did. Jared Goff was the #1 overall pick, a quarterback of a team that went to the Super Bowl. But he could come here and show people he was capable. Mm-hmm. He's super athletic. Mm-hmm. The dude can run. They've got a tremendous running back room, at least coming into the season when you thought you had Braylon Allen with Brees Hall, Isaiah Davis. You got Garrett on the outside. So I thought that there was a path to him actually showing he's a capable quarterback. It obviously didn't happen. It also is worth mentioning that had Tyrod not gotten hurt prior to the Bengals game, Justin Fields would have gotten benched earlier in the season. Like, that's how bad it was. Yeah. So now you fast forward, and this is where I give Fields credit. Felt so poorly for him. Woody Johnson did him dirty, man. Like that press conference that he thought somehow was a good idea to just rip his quarterback, when the quarterback he was ripping was signed by the head coach he was hugging up on. Like, that didn't make any sense. So you think you're just ripping the quarterback. You think you're just ripping the quarterback. You're also killing the head coach and the general manager who signed that quarterback. But the way he handled himself with grace, then he went out there and balled against Cincinnati. I thought a lot of even non-Jet fans were happy for him. But we get to this point where, again, just last week we read stories. He got approached about, could we have you as a gadget guy? Like, could we design some special packages like similar to what Pittsburgh was doing last year for you? And the reports say he was like, nah. That's the reporting. He just not that he said nah, but he wasn't in love with the idea.
You know what?
Very next week he's got knee soreness. So this relation, all that to say, it's been a messy relationship for weeks, and now it looks like it's pretty much ending. He's going to be QB3.
I have to actually kind of backtrack a little bit on what I said, because I almost have forgot about the Woody Johnson stuff, which, to be fair, Justin Fields handled really well. And it was a terrible move by Woody Johnson. And then maybe more of my criticism here will be to Brees Hall. Brees Hall, where was the same energy when Woody Johnson threw him under the bus? We knew Justin Fields wasn't playing good, but the way he did that, you don't do that.
Foul, bro.
It was foul. You don't do that. And so, to some degree, I can always sit here and say you should be a professional, but I understand why Justin Fields might be like, yo, man, get out of here. Get out my face with that. Pay me my $30 million. And now I can talk about whether or not that's a good look and that bodes for Justin Fields if he wants to play elsewhere, even in a backup role. Probably not. But I understand why he might be on some to hell with Woody Johnson behind the scenes after what Woody Johnson did to him publicly. And he never came back at him publicly.
Well, you can't.
You can't, because you're not going to win that.
The owner of the team, yeah, you can't do that.
He handled it very professionally, and maybe now he's just maybe sick of it. I got to give, because maybe this isn't him quitting on his team as much as he's just like, to hell with Woody Johnson.
Yeah, so Brady Cook, and I guess there's a chance we might see him, because one thing we know about Tyrod Taylor is that dude gets hurt, man. So
yeah,
there's a chance we could see Brady, which, by the way, we talked about how, there's a lack of enthusiasm watching these games as a Jet fan. You get Brady Cook up in there. Now all of a sudden we're like, all right, let's see what you got, Brady.
I'll tell you what, Tyrod Taylor throws a couple picks, they're gonna be chanting for Brady Cook. You're gonna see it. They're gonna be on Twitter like, let Brady cook. That's what they're gonna want to see.
Let Brady cook. All right, let's finish here. So I got into it with Bart Scott yesterday because he thought he could name 15 guys in the NBA currently better than Jalen Brunson. So the only names that
I've
I felt
had this discussion before. Yeah.
The only names I felt comfortable going to on this list ahead of Brunson. So the only names I could say with conviction are definitely better than Brunson: SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Ant-Man, Tatum, Steph. And here's where it gets a little bit interesting with the older guys in LeBron and KD. So I think that's 9 guys. Am I missing anyone, or do you feel like he's higher than where I have him on this list? Now, again, before I even go further, there's a conversation to be had about Donovan Mitchell. I think that's interesting. Cade Cunningham, because of what he's done the last 2 years, that's gotten interesting. Devin Booker. But those are the only folks I was confidently putting ahead of Brunson. LeBron did finish top 6 in MVP last year. He was second team All-NBA. I know he looks old and washed out, had his double-digit point streak snapped last night. So LeBron's just like hanging there, but those are the names I had. What do you think?
I think Jalen Brunson's a top 8 player in the NBA. I think he's better than LeBron and KD right now. We're not talking about all-time right now. I'm fine with who you had ahead of him. I don't have a problem with that. I do think people like Donovan Mitchell is debatable, although I would take Brunson. I think Devin Booker's also debatable, but I would take Brunson. Brunson was just top 5 in MVP voting 2 seasons ago. Could find his way in top 5 of the voting this year, depending on how the Knicks do. Brunson's a hell of a player. He's got his limitations with his size. He's a hell of a player. Nah, 15 guys. No, the only way you get to 15 is when you're putting some of those old guys like LeBron and KD there.
But he went to like Jaylen Brown. He's like Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis.
Here's what I would say to Bart, and I'll say to Bart when I see Bart. Bart, you can't be out here putting guys that don't play.
That's what I said.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the same thing I said.
Nah.
I'm like, if you want to take those guys at their peak, then yeah, of course. But we're not. We're talking current landscape of the league right now.
And I'm gonna go to a couple of guys you just said. Anthony Davis stays in street clothes. Sorry. Don't give me Joel Embiid. No. Talent? Yeah, Joel Embiid is one of the best big men I've ever seen. He doesn't play.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Embiid.
Kyrie Irving, who I don't know if he's going to show up to work or what kind of program he's going to be on. I have no idea. And I understand people love Kyrie because of how he makes them feel, and he's flashy with the crossovers and all that stuff.
That hezzy.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to tell you this.
Baby.
I said this once on the show a couple years ago. Jalen Brunson's a better player than Kyrie Irving.
Yo, my man, and I love Bart. That's my guy. He brought up Kawhi Leonard. I was like, all right, come on. Pack that thing up.
In theory, yes. But he doesn't play. Right? Like, Kawhi Leonard at his peak is one of the best two-way players I've ever seen. You want to talk about Kawhi Leonard from like 2016 to 2020? Fantastic. Right now, you're taking Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Jalen Brunson's going to play. You know why? Because I've seen Jalen Brunson do it in the playoffs. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, this is a thing I think. Last thing I'll say, then we all gotta go. I think people, there's these basketball fans, viewers, people in the media. If players aren't like hyper athletic, they view them as not, even though the game has become more skilled. So we devalue the Brunsons, the Jokic of the world, the Lucas of the world, who are really great players at being able to get to their spot offensively and do what they do. SGA, some people don't like SGA's game. They think he foul baits too much. He's great at getting to his spot and doing what he does.
The free throw merchant.
Whatever. Manipulation is part of the game. I hate when people act like that, like it's supposed to look some way. Manipulation works on both ends. It's part of the game. It is what it is. Jalen Brunson's a dope player. 15 players better than him? Nah, man. Crazy. I don't even think if you ask other hoopers, they would agree with that.
Yeah, nah, he was wilding. It's all good. Last bit of news: Kyler Murray shut down for Arizona the rest of the year. Jonathan Gannon says the results on his foot came back, and his foot is not progressing, so he is done for the rest of this season.
He's probably done. He's probably done in Arizona. They don't even
probably
like him out there.
Probably. I just hope that. Okay, I'll check the odds.
Next year's New York Jets starting quarterback.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. And it's nothing against Kyler personally. I don't know the man. But again, when I hear you after a game talk about the reason why you're not able to see your receivers is because you can't see over the line of scrimmage, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Give that man a chance.
I'm good. Yo, Dexter Henry, New York Post Sports. Yo, this is always fun, man. We went mad long, but it's because we just with so many different players. Well, so many different places. We talked about every sport. We hit a bunch of teams. This was fun, bro.
It was fun. Thank you, bro. Always a pleasure.
All right, holla at me, dog.
Later, man.